conversation with you when these things start.
Oh, so we should be having a conversation about things and stuff?
Oh, hi.
Hi. Welcome to the RetroBlasting live stream. I hope you all are having a good weekend. You know Melinda.
Hi.
And
I'm Melinda. I'm trying to figure out how my computer works.
And,
how's it going?
You know me. Hope you're all doing well. Today we are going to...
Hi.
Aaron is also back there.
Aaron is like the voice of God, and so sometimes I forget that the voice of God has a name. And in this case, it's Aaron Harper.
Nope.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
So Aaron's back there. He is the co-host of the Dreamland podcast, and he's always helping answer questions. And I believe Tim Ward is probably out there somewhere helping us as well. And Tim Witten is our operations guy. He's running the actual stream right now. And Rebecca Witten is here. She's also taking your questions and monitoring them for us. So thanks to everybody who's on the crew for these live streams. It's always impossible
She normally
to
frog punches me if I miss one.
Oh, well, good. Punch harder. So it's always impossible to do these without their help. So the patrons voted, as always, and they voted for the mystery box. We have a number of mystery boxes that we're going to open today.
It's not J.J. Abrams.
It's not, because unlike J.J. Abrams, we actually have something in these mystery boxes that were sent to us by supporters. We just don't know what they are.
Allegedly.
But first, I want to get to the news. And the news in this case is DragonCon. DragonCon is coming up again.
Oh, is it? I hadn't noticed.
And you can't see the stress on our faces.
You might see the stress on mine. Sorry.
It's starting to get a little, last year we didn't have live streams to do, so this is something where we're sitting back going, oh gosh, is this gonna, mess up our rhythm? We have 4 topics this time, 4 presentations, don't we?
4 presentations, we do. 2 are going to be on the American Sci-Fi Classics track, and 2 are going to be on the animation track, which is pretty exciting. We did a panel with them last year that was really fun, and so we're doing 2 this year with them. The 2 on the animation track are going to be He-Man, and I don't know if that has an official name, but we're going to be talking about He-Man and the Filmation show and all that good stuff. And then we're also going to be talking about the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings animated 1978 film, along with a lot of the other animated Lord of the Rings Hobbity goodness films, not the Peter Jackson films.
Right.
But yeah, in the animation vein. So.
And the entire RetroBlasting crew is going to be part of the Lord of the Rings panel. So that's going to be Melinda, myself, and Aaron Harper from the Dreamland podcast, all discussing the Lord of the Rings Bakshi and animated saga with Rankin Bass, because we're all Tolkien.
I'll just be a disembodied voice.
Okay.
It'll be very mysterious.
You'll actually see him up on the stage with us. So, yeah. And then, were you going to tell them?
No, go ahead.
So for the American Sci-Fi Classics track, which is our sort of home track, our home base at DragonCon, we're going to be doing Rambo, the Panel of Freedom, which I'm personally very excited about. And I think we've pretty much got that presentation in the bag. So I think that's going to be a really fun one. And then we're going to be doing films from 1968. So 1968 was a pretty pivotal year in American history, and a lot of really influential trend-setting films came out that year that sort of set a tone that went forward from there. So lots of fun stuff to talk about on that.
And can I make a fine point on the 1968 panel?
Yeah.
Is that as we did about 2 years ago with a panel that I pitched called 80s Ninjas, the people that were passionate enough to show up to that presentation had a really good time, and you can watch that on YouTube. So we've always found that some of the more, stylized or themed panel titles, which people might not know, hey, what's this all about? We're making them really fun. So if you're at DragonCon and you're not sure, 1968, I don't know, trust me, you're gonna have a good time. We always, as you know, bring our A game to these things, so have some faith in it,
for those who are anxiously waiting, during the con and after the con to see what kind of stuff goes up on YouTube, we do have a question of, will these be on YouTube? What can we expect, as for that? And I know I'm part of the crew, so I want to know too.
Okay.
Like, what am I going to be in?
The 4 presentations that we just outlined, 1968 films, He-Man, Rambo, and Lord of the Rings will go up on YouTube in a fully edited form as we have done in years past.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. We are also on various other panels throughout the weekend. The 4 presentations that we just mentioned will be broadcast live to our Patreon members. So the live stream of those will go out to the patrons at the moment that we start doing those presentations at DragonCon. The finished edited versions will go on YouTube as normal a week or 2 later. And then we are also on a number of other panels on varying topics with other people. They're not RetroBlasting presentations, they're panels with other subject matter experts. We will be shooting 1 or 2 of those, but they will only be on Patreon because of the level to which we have to shoot our presentations. We're not going to that level with some of these others that we're going to be shooting. So those will be Patreon exclusives.
Well, hey, I know we're pretty awesome and all this kind of stuff, but live for the patrons?
Yes.
Are those going to be the shorter videos that we do occasionally while we're prepping, or have we got an exciting technique that we're going to use to broadcast the whole thing live for patrons?
My understanding is we'll be broadcasting live for the patrons the entire thing, as well as clips. Now you guys keep me honest on that behind the camera. I think we are. Tim, is that right?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Are we broadcasting the entire panel live for patrons as well as doing lens clips?
As long as the internet access allows, I would imagine, because as you might guess, with like 75 to 80,000 people all using Wi-Fi in one area, it can sometimes be a challenge.
Surely we'll be the only people streaming audio and video.
Sure, I'm sure
Right.
no one else is doing that. But yeah, so I know that a lot of folks who don't go to DragonCon or are not in the area are like, what's the deal? But basically, we do DragonCon every year because it's our hometown convention, and it's really big and it's really fun. And if you are in the area, please do make a trip down at least for one day and check it out and say hi to us. And so yeah, that's.
And for those asking, when these panels will be on the YouTube channel, that's subject to, obviously, we have to go into our crypt and recover from the DragonCon, and we spend about 2 or 3 millennium sleeping, hanging upside down like vampires. And then, after that, we'll be editing and posting things as quickly as we possibly can.
Yes,
So
absolutely true.
Stay tuned.
Yep. Yep. So do we have any questions so far before we jump into our topic du jour?
I think maybe let's just chat really quickly about some of the other panel discussions we'll be doing at DragonCon, because
Okay.
I know we've been sort of tagged to do a large number of panels this year that are not, like we talked about DragonCon, like RetroBlasting panels. They're more like, we're guests on other folks' panels. So let's talk about that. So
okay,
Michael,
but first I have to know, because I just saw something happen behind the camera. What?
or not, never mind.
I don't know what she laughed at.
So anyway, the panel that you're going to do first is
one of the many panels?
Battlestar Galactica is one that you're going to do.
Yeah, I'll be on a panel about the entire history of Battlestar Galactica. That's one I'll be on. I'll also be on one about classic Doctor Who, which was a surprise to me. I was like, wow, I got picked for a classic Doctor Who panel. That's amazing. I'll be doing one about the 40th anniversary of Superman the movie. I'll be doing one about the 25th anniversary of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And then I will be doing a panel which is on the Sci-Fi Classics track called The Panel of Michaels, which is all about anybody named Michael and Michelle being a panelist to talk about characters in sci-fi named Michael or Michelle. So it's a theme panel. So I'll be doing that. What about you?
I'm going to be on a panel. I was going to be on a panel about Iron Maiden, but I'm not a big fan of Iron Maiden, and so please don't attack me. It's just I've never really gotten. I don't get it. It's just not my thing. So I thought I could research it, but my research abilities are maxed out right now with everything that is on my plate. So I had to pass on that one. But I am going to be on a Halloween panel because it's the anniversary. A lot of anniversary panels. So Halloween, also They Live, and the Night of the Living Dead. So some stuff with the horror track, and I think I'm doing a lead female characters panel on the new diversity track at DragonCon, which again, that was on my list to do. I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing that. But
Right.
you know, it's going to be a fun challenge.
Yeah,
so
the way
there
it
you go.
works is when you're a professional guest at DragonCon, you get your schedule and you just find yourself on certain tracks sometimes or for certain panels that you didn't sign up for. You just find yourself being voluntold to be a part of those things.
Voluntold.
So we were voluntold to do some panels, the ones that we just mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, someone asked what days our panels are going to be, and we don't know. We have an idea right now that the tentative schedule would indicate that we have 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday, but that is an extremely tentative schedule. The DragonCon schedule doesn't become final until like the week before or a few days before the convention starts. So if you are going or interested in just knowing when the panels are going to be, I would say to download the DragonCon app on your phone. It's a free app, and then you can sort of search our names and you'll find when all of our appearances will be.
Yeah, our
So-
names are searchable. So if you look under either Melinda Mock or Michael French, you'll see the presentations that we're doing. And the 4 that we're doing are currently slated for Friday and Saturday, but that could change. So, yep.
So there you go.
Okay. Any questions before we jump into the mystery box?
We got a lot of people from all over the place, so I don't want to miss and not say hi to some folks. We got folks from the UK, from Texas, just a very global group today.
Good.
And then we have a few people who are just astonished that Lois and Clark is turning 25.
I know, scary, isn't it?
I think I'm having a little midlife crisis just sitting here because I remember when that started.
Yep. Yep.
Someone wants to
Speaking
know.
of nice hair, though, Dean Cain,
Yes.
that hair.
Great hair.
Someone wants to know what level patrons will be able to see it live, and that's any level patron.
Every
so.
patron will be able to see the live broadcast as well as the exclusive panels that we're going to be taping, the ones that aren't our full presentations. So any of those that we get taped will be exclusive to our patrons as well.
All right.
Okay, so over the course of the last few months, we've gotten some mystery boxes from some of our supporters, and the generosity that comes out of this community is just humbling. And so I have some boxes here with some items in them that I'm not really sure what's in them, because I knew in some cases that there was going to be like an item or 2 in there that I needed to get. Like one of the boxes had that Aliens loader, the cargo loader, and I knew that needed repair, so I kind of pulled that out, but I didn't really look at what else was in the box at the time because we're prepping for all this other stuff. And then I have a number of other boxes here, so I thought we'd just look through these and see what was sent to us. And in the meantime, if you have questions about anything that's on your mind,
Anything at all,
please feel free to shout them out and we will answer them.
We had a question earlier about how much effort it takes to put together a YouTube channel.
Oh,
Did we really?
I'm Johnny come lately, and so are some of us, but we've definitely seen a lot.
well, do you want to start answering that question while I grab the first box?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I can do my best. Really quick before I start doing that, let's say thank you to Noth, or no, CHF. Not sure. CHF, I just think congestive heart failure, but any chance of a
Your degree is
RetroBlasting Robotech review this year? I know you have too many other scripts. The main problem with the Robotech
Don't. Go ahead.
Don't go ahead is what I heard. What do you want? Which one?
is that we get so many questions that we refuse to do the video. No, I'm just kidding.
The main problem with the Robotech video right now is that there are some key components to the Robotech video that we need that I'm not willing to do Robotech without them, because we are big fans of Macross.
And we don't want to shortchange you guys.
And yeah, we don't. We want it to be the best Robotech video that was ever on YouTube. And so please be patient with us, because we've been prepping for it for years. I even have written some of the scripts, but we're waiting to try and find certain things to make sure that we have everything, kind of like I did for the Rogue One video, that I have everything for the video. So that's why we haven't done one yet. But I am chomping at the bit to do Robotech at some point.
Yeah, me too.
To do
It's going to be a
Macross.
pretty big feature too, because
Yeah.
we're going to do all 3 of the animated series, and so it's quite
Yeah.
extensive. Which means we're going to have to go back, by the way, and rewatch all
Yeah,
of that.
of course we will, which I'll be fine with. We'll be watching them like we did with Golion and Voltron. We'll be reviewing them both in the Japanese versions and in the English versions, and then we're going to talk about the Matchbox toy line as well as the Takatokus. So it's going to be a big feature, but we've got to get a few more things before I'm willing to do it. So.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a letter that came in this box right here. Dear RetroBlasting team, I came across your YouTube videos only a couple of years ago and was instantly a fan. You certainly bring back a lot of fond childhood memories, and I'm always looking forward to your next installment. Even if I had no knowledge or interest in the toys you're discussing, I do find your videos entertaining and informative. Also, thank you for keeping your videos family friendly, though I'm sure, particularly in a restoration, you've wanted to scream out words that would make the vilest of demons blush with shame. That is true. And he does. And I do. And speaking of restorations, you've inspired me to go and try restoring my old Kenner Star Wars collection. I hope to get started on that task soon. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the items I place in this box for you. I can name a few of them, but some escape me. Maybe you'll know what they are and can find some use for them. Thanks for all that you do, and as always, I look forward to your next video. Keep up the magnificent work, Randall Talbert. Thank you, Randall, for sending us this box of stuff.
You know, Michael, I just have this image based on that email of some sort of like terrifying Buffy the Vampire Slayer demon, terrifying being used loosely here.
Like a tiny, tiny fear demon?
Like a tiny, tiny fear demon, dressed like Captain America and standing around, and then you do that, which doesn't show up on the tape, and he just goes, language?
Thank you, Eric James, for the donation, and he says, glad to see others sending boxes. I sent the box last year with the Masked Thunderhawk, Vehicle Voltrons, Men on Car, Bionic 6, etc. Keep up the amazing work.
Oh, that was an epic send.
That was pretty awesome.
I still stare at that Thunderhawk box in awe, because that was the first, well, really the second Mask toy, but the one I wanted the most. And while I still have my Thunderhawk, I never had the box, and that's one of those box arts that just sticks with you from childhood. So when I saw that box, I was like, oh man, I finally have the artwork again, so thank you again. So the first item out of this box is a Gabriel Tonto from the Legend of the Lone Ranger line. And he's actually in good shape. He's not faded. So I'm going to put him under the camera here. And if you got questions about anything, you just shout them out.
Someone wants to know where I got my shirt. I got it from a website called Threadless. Threadless. Threadless.
This looks like a piece of the Masters of the Universe Hordak Fright Zone. Yep. I believe it's the gate to the jail cell of the Fright Zone.
Got a question here about the Batmobile. The stickers on it are in the wrong place. Any quick advice on, should he move them? Is it possible?
Which Batmobile? Is it the Superpowers? Toy Biz.
Yeah.
They are paper stickers. If you think if they've dried up enough that you feel like you can flake them off safely and then reapply some 3M adhesive spray and put them back in the right place, then sure. If not, and you think they're gonna rip, I would just leave them where they are, honestly. I know that's annoying, but unless you've got some really nice reproductions just waiting to go or an unused sticker sheet, I would leave them. So.
Several folks have asked if I am interested or excited about seeing the new Halloween movie. I am always very cautiously optimistic if I'm optimistic. The last Halloween movie that came out was not great, in my opinion, and this one almost terrifyingly looks like it could go into retread territory of that. So I'll obviously wait and see what it looks like when it comes out. I'll be excited if they actually pull it off, but to be fair, I haven't seen a really good, scary, classic-style horror movie in 20 years. So, I mean, it's a pretty high bar it's going to have to reach for me to like it. But again, I'm probably have unrealistically high expectations from film, so.
This is pretty incredible to see. This is actually an action figure from the Filmation Flash Gordon movie line. I did not expect to see something like this come out of a box. This is cool. They usually came with like a white staff, so I'll put this on the underneath the camera so you can see it.
We've got a Spiral Zone question, which is close to my heart because we did a podcast on Spiral Zone. But someone got some tapes, some audio tapes,
Uh-huh.
and they were wondering if those came with the toys or if you had any.
My
experience.
understanding is they did come with the toys. I thought there were audio cassettes with those toys for some reason, if I recall. I could be recalling that wrong, but I think they did.
Thank you, SXHBK, for that question.
Have ourselves an April O'Neil. Looks like she needs a little TLC, but otherwise she's in good shape. Just needs to be cleaned.
Cool.
Actually, what I'll do is I'll stand some of these up since.
Someone just asked if I like the new It movies. Are you talking about like the clown It? Okay, yeah, I didn't see that because I don't really like remakes. So,
Ah! It's one of the Fisher-Price adventure people. This one's known as X-Ray Woman. These were cool. These were like semi-translucent.
someone has a thing for green women.
Kirk.
I mean, yes, that was the correct answer.
Thanks.
Good job, Aaron.
Now this is a first for the RetroBlasting archive.
Nice.
A Terminator 2 from Kenner. It is Arnold. He is doing his thing with this spike in his fist.
Aaron, someone wants to know if we remember the crash test dummies.
I remember the band, the Crash Test Dummies.
That's what they're talking about, I think.
Once there was.
I recently mentioned the crash test dummies in our Hot Wheels crack ups video.
I think
So-
we mentioned them in at least one, if not more, podcasts, which we're still going to be doing the podcast. DragonCon has kind of taken over our world, but
Hey,
Our
it's
talking brain is being turned into a PowerPoint brain right now.
that's right.
Master Splinter from
Oh, I
Ninja
always liked
Turtles. He's also in need of a good cleaning. And Donatello's bow stick and Leonardo's sword. Can never get enough of those for your collection.
Hey, it's Mr. Scary, who reminds me of a really great Dawkins song. What kind of paint should I use to touch up my Kenner Superpowers figures? The boots on my Batman and Superman are worn.
I mean, you can't beat going with some kind of water soluble just in case you mess up or want to remove it later. I would go with like a water soluble acrylic. What do you think, Melinda?
I mean, yeah, that's probably where I would start.
Yeah, what did you use on your ponies?
Yeah, I definitely used an acrylic,
Yeah.
water-based acrylic on the ponies because,
I think
but
the
they're
ponies
vinyl.
are going to be a different material.
They're
than,
vinyl, so, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how much paint you're going to have to put on there as well. So, you know, sometimes the acrylic can look thicker and you can see the brush strokes if you're putting it on with a brush, so you just kind of...
Are you going to be making any more Pony Resto videos?
I don't know, but I do have one pony video that I'm going to be doing. Don't really want to say exactly what that is, but I do have the ponies and everything lined up for that. So the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, thank you for the donation. New to your channel, loving it. First heard of you from World Class BS. First podcast I heard was the Dune one. Made me excited to finally read the book, which is now at the top of my reading pile.
Yes.
Aaron's
Very
excited to hear
yes.
that.
And just a shout out to Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey.
He's all those things.
Thank you. Thank you for all of the engagement on Twitter. Really appreciate seeing you on our Twitter feed. We have Toy Biz Punisher.
Cool. So, are we going to get a Thundar the Barbarian cartoon review? Yes, you are. It's, you know, maybe before the end of the year. I've got it partially written, but I just am trying to find, like, something that's really going to make it pop, because that's my favorite cartoon of all time. So it has to be equally good review. So, going back to the question before about what does it take to start a YouTube channel, I guess it just depends on what kind of YouTube channel you want to do. I mean, if you want to just do like a vlog where you've got your cell phone and, you know, you've got a point of view and you just want to go out and do it, then probably it doesn't take a lot.
It's one of those things that, like, you can pour your entire life into getting the equipment you need to make what you think would be the best looking or the best sounding thing. So it's kind of like, you've got to find that sweet spot between you've got a lot you want to say, you've got a voice you want to get out there, and then you've got to find what you can get, the equipment you can put in front of your mouth and in front of your face to get that out there.
Yeah.
But you
can make it as complicated as you want.
Yeah, it could never end if you go that way.
But I mean, that's true of almost anything like this. Like podcasting is the same thing. I mean, you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment, and
But that won't guarantee you
it
a
doesn't
good
guarantee
show,
that you have something to say. So first you have to figure out your point of view and how you're gonna tell a story to your audience and who is your audience. And then once you get those things figured out, then you just kind of work with what you got and try to keep people engaged.
Yeah,
So-
point of view is one of the most important elements of a YouTube channel because from where I'm standing and why we started the channel, it had to do with, okay, you're showing me the object, but 20 other channels have also shown me the object. What is it about this object or property that makes it worthy of study or makes it worthy of calling out? And in this case, what is your unique perspective or point of view on it? I think that's key.
Right.
Indingo, thank you. We're glad you did too.
Yeah, I'm curious, Indingo, thank you for the donation. You said that you were hesitant to subscribe to us a year ago, and you're glad you did, which, thank you. Guess I would just like to know what would make you hesitant to do so.
If I had to hazard a guess, it'd probably be like if I saw Michael's hair the first time, I would be, I don't know if I could watch
It's
a channel.
intimidating?
Yeah. That's what
Okay.
that's what I was trying to say, but thank you. I just couldn't figure out how to say it.
Sure.
Hey, we got a naked Raiders of the Lost Ark swordsman. I don't
Great.
know. I don't know how to feel about that.
He's got his little pants on, though, his pantaloons. So, yeah. Someone says there's the look of rage.
Yeah, I brought that one on. You could see the eye contact.
Hey,
It's true.
it's Alan Rickman from Robin Hood. Well, what's trying to be Alan Rickman from Robin Hood.
I
Prince of
really wish
Thieves.
that was a spoon.
Melinda, what do you have planned for this Halloween? Probably sitting in something really comfortable on my couch and making Michael give candy to the children. I do have a costume, which is Kill Bill, although I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to wear it. But I do love some yellow jumpsuit, sword, Kill Bill stuff. So I don't know if that's what you were asking or if you were literally asking what I will be doing, but I'll probably be laying on my couch being lazy.
There may be some Dreamland entertainment available.
Oh, yeah, that's
around
true.
it.
We do have a really cool podcast lined up for, actually several cool podcasts lined up for the month of October, so
Yeah.
that's going to be fun.
So that may be what they meant by what are you going to do? Well, I thought I would get a biscuit and then
Looks like we
See
got
what happens.
Ripley and Hicks from the Kenner Aliens line.
Michael, do you use auto cue on your non-live videos? If not, how do you remember everything you want to say?
the guy's brain is a steel trap.
We do about 50 takes.
Oh, on the normal videos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do about 50 takes.
Not really that many. He does have a great memory, so.
It's something that has been discussed about, getting a teleprompter or something like that. You can always tell when someone is using a teleprompter. It doesn't matter how good at it they are, you can always tell. And so I figure since I know how I'm cutting the video together, I know what's going to be on camera versus what's going to be voiceover, and then I plot the whole script around it so that when we shoot in production, I know what sentences need to be on camera, and then I just memorize and flub and flub and flub until I get it right.
Yeah,
Michael,
basically
I'm
when
using
we're
a teleprompter right now and you can't tell.
when we're filming those, we film all the on camera, which are highlighted on the script first, and however many takes each paragraph takes, it's what it is, and then we all breathe a sigh of relief when those are all finished, and then we move to the voiceover, and that's sort of how we structure those filming.
Oh gosh, this is some kind of die-cast. What were these called? This is like we don't have any of these in our collection yet. This is some kind of die-cast military. Oh man.
And Matt Ludy says, "Thank you, Michael, for the great message that you sent to him."
Oh no, absolutely. And I hope that all the luck that you got, Matt, paid off. If not, then we'll all get together and send you good vibes on the next go around. So just keep me posted on how that's going for you, okay? Seriously, keep me posted. I'm trying to remember what this is or was called.
Hey, shout it out if you know the answer. Someone asks if I collect girls' toys like Barbie or My Little Pony. I mean, I do collect vintage My Little Ponies. I have a pretty large collection of those, and I do restore and revitalize some of those. I don't currently collect any of the others, but I do have a lot of my childhood Barbies. I have, the couple of Cabbage Patch Kids that I had and various other random toys that survived and didn't get sold in yard sales and stuff like that. I was not as complete in my keeping of my toys as Michael was, so I just have, like most of you probably, I have what was left in my parents' attic after I went through teenagerhood and I was too cool for toys and all that stuff. So did I collect She-Ra or Golden Girls? No, I did not. I actually really kind of didn't like She-Ra very much because I loved He-Man, and I don't want to say I blamed She-Ra but the cartoon continued on when one of my favorite cartoons, He-Man, went off, and so I was irritated about that.
We have a letter here in this box. Says, hello, RetroBlasting. Here's the Legions of Power and various assortment of goodies I mentioned in the email. I hope you can make use of some or all of it. Keep up the great work, and I'll keep watching. Cheers, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you sending this box. And it looks like there's a ton of stuff in here. I believe that's a CD for you.
Yes, I love CDs.
Oh, wow. I remember that.
Oh, yeah, Viewmaster?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a Voltron Viewmaster disc.
We have a Viewmaster somewhere.
We do.
Sorry.
We'll let you play with it soon.
Tim, is everything okay? Is there something going on behind me? Maybe like a fire or something?
His spider sense was tingling.
No, just checking lighting. Sorry.
No problem.
There was a question here from Savoy that I thought was kind of interesting. What movie did we see at the cinema with our very own money?
No.
Oh, that's a great question.
I'm thinking it was probably a Star Trek movie for me that I went to.
The Lost Boys I saw in the cinema with my own money because that was when I lived in Alaska and I lived on base and it was like $1 to go to the movie theater.
So you saw basically all the movies.
I saw every single movie because there was nothing else to do on the tiny, tiny military base where I lived up there. So every single movie that hit that one theater, we had one theater, like one room. It showed one movie per week or every couple weeks. So yeah, I saw every single movie.
What's this from?
That's a 50
Rambo?
cal.
Rambo. This is from Rambo, The Force of Freedom. I'm going to put this right behind us in the Savage Strike headquarters. Thank you, Kevin.
Wow, it's already going right to its home.
That's right.
Wow.
And it will be shooting toys in half in no time.
Did either of you ever play with Legos?
Yes.
I played with like actual Legos, not Lego kits. Like
Yes.
just the bricks.
What's
And
funny is I recently for my little ones, I went out looking for just that, and there are boxes of just generic Legos you can get with like the little Lego stud.
Don't say Legos. People will
You're
lose
right.
their
That's a good
mind.
point. It's just Lego. It's just Lego.
I'm gonna say Legos on purpose, just to irritate people.
I pity the fool that says Legos.
Yes.
It's Lego. This is BA. Mayteen. AKA Mr. T. Sweet.
Brian Fitzgerald says Legos is fine. I think so too, Brian, but we did get called out for that at some point. I think it was in one of our videos.
Yep,
So,
we did.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get called out,
What's bad is that's what we all called it as a kid. And
absolutely, that's what we
now
called it.
I read the name and I realize that it's just Lego.
Let's see what we have here. Looks like we have some mask stuff.
Melinda, are you still doing any toy restorations as well as seen in some of your older videos? Not as a general rule. I mean, if we're doing a toy restoration, we're doing it on the channel. Although I do some pony cleanup and stuff like that that's sort of redundant. It's not showing anything new. So I don't really feel like the audience would benefit all that much from me doing it. If you guys really want to see all that, I guess maybe I can put that on Patreon or something like that. But sometimes it's just soothing to clean up some old toys and, make them look pretty again. I feel like there's some conversation happening behind the camera.
I just want to
Is
make
it
sure there's
bad?
not a fire going on.
Guys,
Yeah.
we were just stunned by how spectacular you guys are doing up there. I want you to keep up the good work. We do have a question about any plans for the 1977 to 88 Japanese diecast Chogokin history videos planned. I'm not familiar with that particular line, but I think I know somebody. who
Is
would.
that just in general, if you're talking about things like Godaiken or just want to put some of those mask figures that we just got under the camera, there's always opportunities to discuss the late 70s, early 80s Chogokin robots. It's just a matter of which ones we're getting in. We did a video several years ago on my childhood Daitarn. We've done videos about Golion, of course, and Rugger, excuse me. But if you're talking about like Voltes 5 or Mazinger or Daltanius, it's a matter of us getting one into the studio to talk about. And we haven't prioritized that yet. So if we get some, we'll definitely talk about them. Yeah, absolutely.
What was your most epic find?
You.
Oh, God, that's so
Holy
sweet.
cow.
That just happened, you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's see. I think for me, like,
and it was
when-
the first time that I was, so glad that there was so little to zero plastic in my find. Most of the time I'm really looking for.
There are still people out there that are getting hit
Wow.
by that shockwave. Like,
Holy-
there's-
Just going crazy.
Holy crap. So little plastic in the find. Okay.
I tried to step on that.
Oh,
Good.
come on, that's
I thought
funny.
that was funny. I thought it was funny. Let's see. What else can we talk about? So many things to talk about. Aaron, go.
I've got these little robots here. I'm going to put them under the camera. Maybe somebody can tell me what they are. Every now and then we get things in, and I'm not
The
sure.
first person to call out the correct thing.
Is the
Gets-
first person
gets
who called
called
out
out.
the correct thing.
Are these Zoids? Z-bots? What are these?
They're Legos with a Z.
Z-Bots.
They're Z-bots.
Z-bots.
According to,
Z-Bots from Armored Hobby Bay.
they're saying X-bots.
I'm going to go with W-Bots and just play the odds.
Now I know what these are, but I can't think up the name fast enough. These
Lots of votes for Z-Bots.
It's Z-bots.
These are from Arco. That's right. These are Arco. They were kind of on the wave of those fantasy toys like AD&D and Dragon Riders of the Styx, but they're bendable.
Yeah, they kind of almost feel like erasers. Like, remember you used to get the cool formed erasers that you'd sit on the top of your pencil?
Do those have the joints in their arms, or is it the wire skeleton? in
They're
there?
just like bendies.
Okay.
They're just bendable. This is what they. I know their names. I've researched them before, but
What are all the things in the first box? Did we talk about all the things?
we
in the
talked
first
about
box?
all the things. I didn't know what the military stuff was, but
Okay. Do you think modern series and toys of things like Voltron and Ninja Turtles will bring awareness to the classic and vintage series toys?
yes, I think they will, and I think it keeps the vintage toys relevant, especially when so many, and not to put too fine a point on it, but so many of these new releases of these toys end up having production or manufacturing drawbacks, or they don't have the scope that the original line had, and so then
Yeah.
people go searching for the original line again.
Do you think there are things that this is just my own question, what kind of things do we do better with toys now than we did? Like,
I think
Technology.
accuracy of depicting the characters is far better.
I think the technology for them to achieve accuracy is probably
Right.
higher.
I've seen
Or
some
more-
lines where it's clear they reused like a Disney character to make a Star
Right.
Wars character.
Right.
Sometimes things like
Now the
that.
quality of the plastic has diminished greatly,
Yeah.
in large part.
I think someone's saying that those are Otherworld. Are you referring to those?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds correct.
John Hufford.
Thank you, John. Sometimes it's hard to keep some of those more obscure fantasy lines in my brain. We just got Crystar. This is Warbow from the Crystar line. Put him in here under the camera. Wonder how well these guys stand up. Not so well. All
Hey,
right.
Court Foss, we'll remind. We'll get with Michael.
What's that?
He had a question about VHS tape.
Oh.
He's asked, and he's asking again just to make sure it doesn't get missed.
Oh yeah. If
For
you want to
Star
ask
Wars.
it now, we can do it.
And it flew past. Okay, so he says, okay, I'm repeating it as instructed. I have a Star Wars Droids VHS tape. Would you like it? It says tail. I'm assuming it autocorrected to tail from tape.
Yeah, yeah. If you'd like to part with it and you don't want it to go to a stranger, then I'll be happy to take it as a collectible from the vintage Star Wars era. Absolutely. Thank you for offering. I'd be happy to.
Melinda, that one's for you.
Thank you, Sherman Eagles, for the donation. And you want to know what my opinion is on the new wave of thrash metal bands that are trying to bring back the old 80s sound. For instance, the band, I'm going to guess that's Creye, C-R-E-Y-E.
Maybe
Crye?
even Cry.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that band, and generally, I don't know how to say this. I feel like sometimes music, much like film, tends to represent or reflect the era in which it's made. If it's good, like, it tends to reflect it. And so I don't know. I guess it would have to depend on the band and how they're doing what they're trying to do. I feel like if you're trying too hard to sound like you're from a previous time, then you start sounding like the Squirrel Nut Zippers, which is just weird. Like, it's kind of kitschy and fun for about 5 minutes, and then it just gets
Put a
annoying.
lid on it. What's that you say?
I just kind of feel like it gets, I don't know. It's almost like having someone who's really young trying to make it sound like they're from a prior time that they're not quite getting because they didn't live through it. It's not their fault. It almost makes me wish they would just do something completely new and innovative. But again, I may love this band and I've just never heard them, so maybe I'll just have to check them out and then I'll let you know what I think. That's about the best I can do on that. I do, as you all probably know, I do love some new metal that's coming out, but it's usually by old bands, so.
I'm not going to break these out entirely right now, but just so you know, he wasn't kidding. I mean, that's Legion of Power right there. That's a lot.
That's the whole Legion.
A lot of Legion of Power. So we're going to be digging through this and putting these vehicles back together to make sure that...
You can pop that VHS tape in and lay it out on the floor and start snapping those things together.
Yeah, and check
we'll
this.
order a Domino's pizza with a Coca-Cola.
That's right. And we've also been given all the paperwork for the Legions of Power.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Dragon Riders of the Styx figures. I had those exact two guys.
Yep, the Black Knight and whatever the dragon guy's name was. The Black Knight is actually one of the only complete Dragon Riders of the Styx we have in the archive. He's actually over by the Clash of the Titans figures in our case over there. All right, next box.
Has Michael had to scrub up on vintage Doctor Who to prepare for the panel?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have.
Oh, yes, very.
As I said in the Doctor Who live stream several months back, I have copiously gone through, just for my own interest, and educated myself on all the behind-the-scenes drama, how the show was made, all the transitions between the different doctors, the writers, the directors, the showrunners. I know more about that than I do about most of the storylines. And I have been going back and backfilling in all the major storylines for the different doctors throughout the classic era. I know Tom Baker, his stuff really well, and I'm very familiar by comparison with John Pertwee's era, the third Doctor. But I've been making sure that I get familiar with Davison's run and Colin Baker. I watched Tomb of the Cybermen with Patrick Troughton to try and get prepped on that. So yeah, I'm really going in honestly as a I'm going in as a Sarah Jane Smith devotee is what I'm going in as.
I mean, I think you need to just stay true to what you are, you know.
Stay true to who?
To you, Michael.
To me?
To you.
To who?
Let me illustrate for you how, because I'm glad this question came up. I'm going to illustrate for you how dedicated to my pie slice of who I am. Not who I am, who I am.
Is that a pun? Is that a Doctor Who pun?
No.
Yes.
I think it was.
So, yeah.
So when are you turning your house into Graceland? Oh, hello, Owl.
So
that is a superb owl.
I assume a classic Who fan or some of you out there know what this is. And if you do, shout it out.
I know what it is. I guess I shouldn't say it though.
So, anywho, I'm
God.
gonna take this
Oh my gosh. was that
Hoodal back to his place.
Oh, I just got that. That's why probably they used an owl.
for who?
For who?
Man, they were
Yeah.
clever. They just don't write like that anymore.
Hi.
Yeah, question
Someone-
here about why so many Transformers Gen 1 toys are in poor condition. If that's true, I said condition. I hope you noticed
Condition.
that. But I
Contrition.
meant to say condition, which is something that Michael does to his hair. But, you know,
I wish.
the fact that that question was asked, Michael, was there a manufacturing issue with Gen 1, or was it just kind of the first wave got battered? That's all we got left?
You're talking about the condition of most G1 Transformers?
Yeah.
Part of it has to do with the fact that they were high concept but ahead of their time, so the technology couldn't keep up with the engineering. They were fragile, and
So the play.
yeah, the play and the weak points just kept them falling apart. And also the plastics. They didn't predict that some of those plastics would get real brittle.
Somebody asked how many copies of the original Star Wars on VHS you own or we own.
Hey, Michael, you're not done with that Legion of Power box. There's some posters.
There are some posters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Star
sorry.
Wars folder and a poster in the box under the Legions of Power in case you missed it.
Oh,
Cheers, mate.
that must be our friend Kevin.
Larry says, fun fact, opening scene in Back to the Future was shot at the old Macy's Mall in my hometown of La Puente, California. Michael, haven't you been there? Or no?
I have not been there, but I knew about it. I
Okay.
just haven't been there. They are correct. There are Star Wars folders and a poster. Looks like they're from the 90s in mint condition.
Wow.
And this,
It's just blank.
I don't want to. Oh, it's George.
Hey,
Oh,
George.
We have a newfound appreciation for you these days.
We do. Hey, did you guys know Harrison Ford played Han Solo in that movie?
I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't heard the word hoser in a while, but it was really popular when I lived in Alaska.
How was it spelled?
Hoser.
Oh, hoser. I'm sorry. I was thinking you said poser.
Let's kill the hoser.
Okay, this
Yeah.
looks a little different. We just got this box a few months back from Matthew Gastra, and it's got all kinds of interesting stuff in it. A DVD of the TV show Monster in my pocket,
Hey.
and it looks like Computer Warriors is also on this disc.
I
Awesome.
don't believe I've ever seen that one.
I know Computer Warriors, but I've never seen the show around it. Put this here.
Hose Nut. I've never heard that one.
I'm going to go with no on anchovies, but I've made a lot of anchovies pizza in my life.
Real
I'm a
Ghostbusters.
vegetarian.
Slimer comic books, starring Slimer. Real Ghostbusters in Ghostbusters 2. So the Real Ghostbusters did the Ghostbusters 2 adaptation. I did not know that. Popples comics.
Wow. Who knew? Popples had comics.
I did not. There's
did not.
comics of a lot of things there.
Issue
That's true.
1 and 2 of the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade Marvel Comics adaptation. Very cool.
Are there any actual Revenge of the Jedi posters available in
You
the
beat me
world?
to it.
Yes, they're just very rare, and they go for several $1,000s.
But I
from
think,
what
you know,
understand.
for those who want one, they just need to know there's hope.
There's hope.
It may not be new.
Speaking of Robotech, we were given some of the Robotech comics. So, Melinda, you're gonna be happy.
Michael,
Uh-oh.
You're gonna be happy.
I see GoBots.
Battle of the
Hooray!
Rock Lords on
I'm
VHS.
So excited about this, you guys. You have no idea how long and how hard I looked. I was willing to pay money to try to see this thing before we did our panel so that I could pull things out, talk about it. Now we can do a video about this.
We
That's
can.
exciting.
and
Thank you.
you also get with it the Robo Machine featuring the GoBots Annual for 1986 as a companion piece.
Wow. So do you think that the GoBots wrote in there, "Have a nice summer"?
Look at it. Oh man. Look at these DVDs. Check
Yeah.
this out. Flash Gordon, The Greatest Adventure of All, which is the movie that lizard person is based on.
That
so
lizard person.
Right. So this is the
Nice.
movie for that.
Cool.
Did you pull a Doctor Who character out of there earlier? Someone said the Doctor Who character was an adipose. And they're just so cute.
No, that you're talking about what I had in my hand?
Yeah.
No, what I had in my hand was the owl that Sarah Jane Smith has in her arm in
Oh,
the
no,
end of
okay. Yeah,
Hand of
I knew
Fear.
that was an owl.
Yeah.
Somebody says that Transformers the movie is Citizen Kane compared to the Rock Lores movie. Would you like to tell them what I said about the Transformers movie when we were watching it?
That it was the type of movie that only a sadistic person would like? Is that what you said?
I did say that.
Right.
And also, there was that weird owl moment.
Yankovic?
Yeah, with it where the song comes on and
I thought you were talking about the owl again.
Yeah, weird owl.
This is Inception.
you remember
Yes. Dare to be stupid. That. Yeah.
I said it was super accurate. Anyway, yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, so we've also got DVDs for robotics. Glow Friends: The Quest. They had a cartoon.
Hug a bunch.
Oh, and Hug a Bunch.
Wow.
And we've got Robotech the movie, which I
Wow.
recall being rather controversial.
Poochie.
And look at the back.
Oh man, I've got a Lady Lovely Locks.
How about Barbie Sensations?
You know, if it was Barbie and the Rockers, I'd be even more excited.
Barbie Sensations rockin' back to Earth.
But, wow.
That implies they're in space.
Mad Balls.
They're so angry.
It sounds.
Here, I'll put those down for you.
I feel like
Oh man,
Zip it.
Barnyard Commandos.
that's awesome. I
complete
didn't realize that was a
series.
series.
I did not either. Porks versus Rams.
Oh Jesus.
And let's see. Rainbow Bright, It's Your Surprise Birthday Party. And Raggedy Ann and Andy, A Musical Adventure. Oh, and Rainbow Bright, San Diego Zoo Adventure. Who knew?
Rainbow Bright telling you on the cover that it's your surprise birthday party.
As Melinda will tell you, I love
Rainbow Bright.
I love adding to the film collection with esoteric stuff. I was just getting made fun of this afternoon for one of my recent acquisitions that I put on the television, China O'Brien.
Well, that's because the initial scene looks like he popped in a porno right at the beginning of, I mean, it was only about an hour before the live stream started, and Aaron and I had just rewatched the Lord of the Rings Bakshi film, and we're taking notes and discussing, and suddenly
Oh, no, we'll leave
he's
that.
like, hey, let's watch this, and then suddenly there's a woman stripping in this lace underwear, and it was just very awkward. Very awkward.
All right, final
Just keeps going right by.
from P.F. Clemenson. Fisher-Price Adventure, people.
They're asking if we own a VCR and VHS tapes.
Oh, yes, we do. We own a VCR, we own VHS tapes, we own a Laserdisc player that's been my old friend since 1995.
Betamax.
Well, we don't have a Betamax. We have an HD DVD player as well as a Blu-ray. We have 4K. We have DVD, of course. I have, all
Are you
manner.
bragging?
No, I'm not bragging.
Thank
Chris,
you, Chris. You
thank
checked
you, Chris.
all the boxes.
Love the unboxings. Brings back lots of memories. Hope to get you guys' take on Hot Wheels during the 50th anniversary. Sorry to keep harping on it. Love the shirt, Melinda. Can't wait for the next Dreamland. Yeah, me neither, actually. We were just talking, or I was earlier, about how I feel like I haven't done a podcast in forever. And
Thank you for implying that I don't miss it. Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
It was really thoughtful.
It's sure.
Co-host.
I care.
Co-host.
Okay, check.
I'm sure Aaron cares.
I do.
Aaron, how do you feel? I wouldn't assume how you feel.
That's okay. Your assumption would be correct. I miss doing it as well.
Yes.
So.
It's going to be soon. Because DragonCon's really soon. This reminds me of a bath toy I had.
This is from the Adventure People line. This is the Fisher-Price Adventure People. These toys
It's
are
totally
great.
a bathtub.
These
toy.
toys are great. They're some of the best toys that were ever made.
I like how on the edge of futuristic that boat is. So it could literally be, I'm going out to take care of alligators to make sure they're healthy, or I am going to launch into space from this.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. We got one of the parachutists.
This person wants to know if we own The Last Unicorn on VHS, and we don't, but we have it on
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray, so it's hard to go back to watching a very muddy VHS transfer when you've got it on Blu-ray.
Do you think that was any clearer when it first came out and that it's degraded with time, or are we so used to 4K and 1080p that things just look muddy?
I think it's a
I think
combination,
it's a combination of
Yeah.
both. But I think that certainly our expectations are much higher for what we want to see, and televisions are a lot better. So, you know, when you can see something on like a giant, 80-inch television and it's, VHS quality, it's very, very muddy.
Right. There is stuff.
Hey, a beanbag.
There is stuff in the back of this. Look at this. We've got the bike.
Michael, did you check and make sure any of the other boxes have been completely emptied? I know you're really excited to open your next present, but let's make sure we don't miss any gifts.
Why? Is
Don't
someone
forget
saying we did?
Send Grandma thank you
The
card.
one who sent that last box.
Oh,
Said that there was a note in the box.
a note in the box.
Is there anything vintage Star Wars toy related that you don't have?
Yes, there are a few items like action figure collector cases. There's a few mini rigs that I'm missing. But any of the things that were depicted on screen, I have all those. So I have everything that was made from something that was in the movie. I have all that stuff. It's just some of the things that were ancillary I don't have.
Someone says this looks like the mystery
The one
machine.
with the
Yeah.
font that had all the comics.
I actually thought that was a mystery machine. But
it's
yeah,
po-
all
it's-
the comics, there was a note with the comics. We're
Okay.
going to keep looking for that.
Yeah, it's possible that because we pre-opened these boxes upstairs before we did this, because I didn't want to waste a lot of time cutting
By
boxes
pre-open,
open.
that doesn't mean we went through them.
We
just
just
prepped
we,
them.
we just
opened the
opened the top.
tops.
So it's
This is
possible that
all
it's
staged.
it's possible that it's upstairs, and I'll go look for it and make sure that we find it. So, okay, this is the last piece.
And it's not the mystery machine.
No, it's the Fisher-Price, looks like beachcomber vehicle of some kind. It has a kayak and a dirt bike with a matching 318 numbers on it.
What was the last CD you purchased? Well, for me, it was the autographed Pandemonium CD, autographed by Dan Swano himself. Thanks, Swano Merch. Huge fan. Love you guys. So yeah, that's what I
For
bought.
me, it was Rage Against the Machine, I think. Either that or Sunny Day
That's
Real
admirable.
Estate. One of those two.
The last CD I purchased was, if we're talking about just the format, I purchased one of the Big Finish Sarah Jane Smith audio dramas from Doctor
yeah,
Who.
you did.
Yeah, but if it's music, trying to remember the last music CD I purchased. Might have been the limited edition Wonder Woman Linda Carter TV soundtrack collection.
Last one I listened to was Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
And that was one of the first ones available to buy. Very early CD.
Oh, I love this about the Adventure People. The sleeping bags that actually rolled up.
Cute.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, just the quality of this was so well done.
Let's see. Cammy or Astrid? What does that mean?
Astrid is, they're asking a Kylie question.
Oh.
So Kylie Minogue played Cammy in Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right. Okay.
And then she played Astrid in the Christmas special with David Tennant on Doctor Who.
Astrid.
I would say Astrid is probably, yeah. I mean, Street
Yeah.
Fighter.
Tough call.
Street Fighter, though, it's not a film that it's very redeemable. I mean, I would rather watch Biodome that has Kylie Minogue in it probably than watch Street Fighter. So, with all respect to Raul Julia, who
This person says Kylie would have made a great Lara Croft.
yes, she would have. Thank you for saying so, because I've said that since the 90s. I don't know why they didn't cast her as Lara Croft. What a mess. They
Michael,
missed-
we've got a statement here from Larry Zeno saying, "My Clay Yoda. I can't find anything that is 80s and custom painted." Does that ring a bell with you? I think there's been a few questions about the Clay Yoda.
Your Clay Yoda, is that the one that came Yes, go ahead. Yeah, we can. Is that the one that came pre-packaged with the paints and the brushes, and it started out like a white clay solid sculpture, and then you got to paint it however you wanted? Because if that's the case, then yeah, that's one of the ones that I remember from when I was a kid. It was in the arts and crafts section. There was a whole series of them. You had Luke
Larry
Skywalker.
says, yes, that's the one.
Yeah, it was from the Empire Strikes Back line of merchandise. It was not made by Kenner. I can't remember who did it. There was a Luke Skywalker one. I believe there was a Princess Leia one from all Empire Strikes Back themed, and the Yoda one. So yeah, those were nice sets. And you can still get those on eBay in the package. Of course, you'll have to paint them yourself if you want to open one up. But yeah, you can still get them. We've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we do.
That is crazy.
That's amazing.
I mean, look at this. This is another parachute.
Tim says 1 minute. We got to wrap it up. But I mean,
oh, okay.
we're the bosses, so I mean, we can just keep talking as long as we want to be fair.
He has
right,
the kill
guys?
switch, though.
He does have the kill switch.
Oh.
He can cut us off at any time. He is the operations and production manager, and right now we have to do what he says.
So what you're saying is stop being sassy to the people.
Don't
who
be sassy
actually-
to the boss man.
It gets me in trouble at work too.
Oh, did you hear that? If you
Huh?
want DragonCon to be good, we have to just turn off the live stream now. So, any
guess
last
that's
question
true.
before we go? We got to wrap it up. But thank you all for joining us today. Is there any last question before we get out of here?
Do you ever hear of the cartoon Bobo Bobs?
That sounds vaguely
Bobs.
familiar, but I haven't seen it.
Have you ever heard of the cartoon Sport Billy?
Yeah. You told them.
Yeah. Mic drop.
Turnabout is fair play.
Wow.
Well,
I
thank
had
you.
a Sport Billy lunchbox.
Michael,
Yes.
what is best in life?
Oh, to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. That is good. Thank you all for joining us on this live stream. We really appreciate it. It's always fun to spend an hour with you every other Saturday. We will be at DragonCon, so there will be a live event of some kind 2 Saturdays from now, but it will not be a traditional live stream. If you're
It'll be even more fun though.
Yeah, if you're at DragonCon, please come to our presentations or just come up and say hello or both. And we will see you after DragonCon. Remember, if you're a patron, you get to vote on every live stream topic, regardless of your contribution level.
And we're probably going to be doing a lot of just spontaneous little quick live videos at DragonCon to give you guys some flavor of, what goes on at con. And
It's mad. It's madness.
it's madness and it's fun.
Yep.
Meet everybody on Patreon.
Yeah, so thanks to you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Yep. See you guys. Thanks again.
We
Bye.
keep our distance with the system of touch. Gentle persuasion